Hey, I try not to be political. I try to avoid politics, but fair warning, this video is political, or honestly, it shouldn't even be political. It's just common sense and decency, but if you don't like politics, I understand. You can go click off and watch a gaming video or something. I'm fine with that. But things are going crazy in the world. Completely crazy. And if I don't talk about it to someone, it's just going to be internalized. And what with quarantine and everything, can't talk to anyone. I mean, I could, but not in person, so. Anyway, I want to start by saying that I hate violence, and I never advocate violence. I will always promote discussion and peace and education before all else. Whenever there's a disagreement, I firmly believe that education is the way to solve it. That said, Breonna Taylor was shot to death in her own home by police after her boyfriend shot a gun at those police. So why were the police there? Because 10 miles away, they were investigating a drug den or a suspected drug den. 10 miles from Breonna's house. They had a warrant called a no-knock warrant, which just means they can break into a house without warning. Usually if they suspect there's illegal activity going on, they get that kind of warrant, they break in and catch someone in the act. The drug den was 10 miles from their house. They broke into Breonna Taylor's house. If somebody just randomly breaks into your house and you're not expecting anything and you're not doing anything wrong, what's your first immediate assumption? They're here to steal from you. They're robbers, they're burglars, or some other criminal, because who breaks down your door if you're not doing anything wrong? So, yes, boyfriend shouldn't have shot at them, but it's totally understandable that he thought they were burglars and shot at them. Now, in other countries, I understand that the idea of even shooting at a burglar is unheard of, and I agree, I hate guns. But in the US, guns are fucking everywhere, and shooting at someone who you believe is breaking into your house to steal stuff or harm you or your loved ones, I mean, if there ever was a legitimate reason for a weapon, that would be it. So I still don't like it, but I don't blame anyone who would use a gun for self-protection in a case like that. So, again, should he have shot at the police? No. But when people break down your door, basically, break into your house without any warning, without you expecting it, with you having no reason why anyone would do that, if your first instinct is, they're here to rob me or hurt me or my girlfriend, and you have a license to carry a weapon, I mean, it's understandable. What's even worse is these are trained police. The boyfriend shot at them. They should be trained not only how to aim a weapon, but to at least, try and disable an assailant before killing them. Not only did they kill Breonna, but they shot Breonna, who was not the person with the gun. It makes no sense. Unless the cops were completely undertrained, which is a serious problem considering they carry weapons, or if they were reckless, still a problem, or if they just didn't care as much because of her race. And I'd like to say that I think that's unlikely, but I can't. Because it's not unlikely, unfortunately. Moving on from Breonna, Ahmaud Arbery, guy who jogs, as many people do, all the time. His neighbors attested to that. Not that you need witnesses to say, yes, you jog, but he had that. Two white guys, one of whom is an ex-cop, had been thinking about how a neighbor had recently had their guns stolen. They saw Ahmaud jogging down the street, and they saw what looked like him putting his hand in his pants. Now, they didn't see why. They didn't see what was in his pants. They thought, it could have been a phone, a wallet. He could have been adjusting his pants that were falling down as he was jogging. Could have been any number of things. Maybe he didn't even put his hand in his pants. Maybe he just jogged by and his hand went by his pants and he saw it wrong. Who knows? Could be a million things. This white ex-cop decided he must have a gun and decided he was probably the guy who stole his neighbor's gun. No evidence for that. Just saw a black guy running down the street after a neighbor had his gun stolen and assumed that he was the perpetrator. So he and his friend grabbed their shotguns, got in a truck, and chased Ahmaud down. Ahmaud's on foot, jogging, and there's video of this. You can see that he's clearly at a jogger's pace, not running or sprinting away from something. Ahmaud's on foot, and these two guys with shotguns are chasing him down in a truck, yelling at him to stop because they want to talk. If you see two guys with guns chasing you down in a car while you're jogging and telling you stop, 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 who in their right mind of any race, of any walk of life, would see that and think it's safe to stop? Because I sure as hell wouldn't. I'm a middle-class white guy. I have so much privilege. I can walk down the street at night without fear. If somebody chased after me while holding a shotgun and told me to stop, I would be running the other direction, which is exactly what Ahmaud did. He ran. So they continued chasing him down in the truck, sped past him, and cut him off at an intersection. He tried to turn around and run the other way. There was a neighbor who was filming everything in the car on the other side, and this is where we see the film footage. So he was pinned between a truck with two people with shotguns who were yelling at him and a car with someone filming everything. He tried to jog around the truck and make his way to the other side and get past them, at which point this ex-cop hopped out of the truck with his shotgun in hand and walked around to the front of the truck to intercept Ahmaud while carrying a shotgun. Ahmaud tried to grab the shotgun away, at which point the ex-cop and his friend fired 3 gunshots, hitting Ahmaud in his abdomen. Ahmaud tried to run, got maybe 10 steps, and then collapsed on the floor dead. They searched him because, remember, they thought he had a gun, and not just any gun, but his neighbor's stolen gun. They found no weapon. He was unarmed, going for a jog. They chased him down with shotguns and shot him to death. Several prosecutors recused themselves, meaning they decided they can't be part of the trial because they either had connections to this man or connections to the law enforcement agency he used to work for. Nothing was done until there was public outrage. The video, by the way, was released by this ex-cop, in his words, because he thought it would help people understand why he did it and see his side of everything. The video clearly shows Ahmaud trying to run away and then getting shot. I don't know what he thought everyone was going to see. Less than a month later, less than a month after all this came to a head at least, George Floyd. He paid a cashier for something with what turned out to be a counterfeit $20 bill. Was it actually, did he know that it was counterfeit? Don't know, and we never will know. Does it matter? Well, the cop that was arresting him for paying with a counterfeit $20 bill pinned him to the floor, not even the floor, the ground outside, by putting all of his weight on one knee on George's throat. George was suffocating and tried to say he couldn't breathe, but the cop stayed there. After a little over 2 minutes, George was unresponsive. It's unclear whether he was dead at that point or just unconscious, but he was not moving. The cop stayed with all his weight on George's throat for another 8 minutes. What? I don't... Even if he was guilty and he knew that it was a counterfeit $20 bill, being suffocated to death with someone crushing your windpipe for 8 minutes longer than they have to disable you for a counterfeit 20. What the fuck? So yes, people are angry, and they have every right to be. When at least 3 innocent people are murdered by people in positions of power, they have every right to be angry. Because if murder, especially the murder of innocents, doesn't upset you, you are not human anymore. There's something wrong with you. So people protested, and the protests started relatively peacefully. These peaceful protests were met with pepper spray, getting shot with pepper balls, illegal arrests, and so they got less peaceful. But when the response to 3 innocent people are dead for no reason other than the color of their skin, and that upsets us and we want something to be done about it, when the response to that is, we're going to spray you with pepper spray, shoot you, and arrest you, I advocate for discussion and education all the time. But there's no discussion to be had if the person you're trying to talk to is responding with violence and a closed mind. So, do I think that the protests and the looting and the rioting are good things? No. No, I don't. But I also believe that there are no options left. When people abuse their power to not just hurt, but kill innocent people, and they expect that they can just get away with it because way too often they can, even in the face of fucking video evidence showing what they did, they still are confident that there will be no consequences for murder. I didn't want to mention the president, but when the leader of the nation calls protesters thugs and encourages them to be fired upon, is there any option left? Because as far as I can see, there are three options. Either all the protesters back down and innocent people continue to be killed and murdered, because obviously there's no sign of that stopping, or they keep protesting peaceably, in which case no change happens, but the peaceful protesters get maced and shot at and arrested. Or they admit that peace has already lost and there is no more hope for peace, at least in the immediate future, and just do what they can to enact change if they can't have peace. I don't like it. I don't think anyone does. But you can't keep letting innocent people die. Because for God's sake, every country has different laws. Every country has different morals. The one universal moral that every single culture in the world has is that murder of innocent people is one of the worst things you can possibly do. So how are we supposed to sit here and act like there's nothing to do about it, and act like we have to just accept that murder is gonna happen by people who are actually in the uniforms that represent protection from people who would murder? I'm not one of those people that would go so far as to say all cops are bastards or whatever, or fuck the police, because that actually uses the word all, and that's not true. There are good cops out there, and can't imagine what they must feel like when people that have made the same oaths that they have are out there abusing their power like this. And yeah, but even though not all cops are bad, way too many of them are, and they keep getting away with some of the most heinous, violent, disgusting acts imaginable, and that can't keep happening. We cannot claim to be anywhere near the best country on earth, which way too many people say we are, if we're just going to be okay with people in authority murdering innocent people at this point almost on a bi-weekly basis. And those are just the high-profile cases that we know about. Obviously, there have been many more in the past few years and before then, and who knows how many more that haven't been reported on in the past month. Something needs to change, and if people aren't willing to have a discussion about it and aren't willing to learn, I don't know. I don't know if violent protests and rioting and looting will make a difference, but I think it's all we have left. So just be careful out there, whether you're part of the protests or just trying to walk past them. It's a dangerous time to live. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter, and again, my channel's not political, and personally I try to avoid politics whenever I can. That doesn't mean that I don't have opinions, and when the world has gone this crazy, this fast, hell, ever since January, it's been one thing after another, and it's not even halfway through the year yet. So, anyway, yeah. If you don't like politics, don't worry. I don't plan on having more political videos anytime soon. And I hope you clicked off already and are watching a gaming video or a coding video or something. But yeah, stay safe, everyone.